What's going on, guys? My name's Joe. You can find me everywhere online at Tattoo Theist. I'm going to show you a handful of things today because I genuinely feel like most people who watch my content aren't fully up to speed on what is actually going on in terms of youth and the gender ideology, the trans ideology. So I'm going to show you a couple of things today. Mostly we're going to surround ourselves with this beautiful girl named Chloe. Chloe got her first cell phone at 12. And then she started going down the rabbit hole of what is being fed to her by algorithms of extreme feminism, the LGBTQ community, and trans ideology. So the first thing we're going to do is listen to a 2-minute clip of Chloe telling a little bit about her story.
I'll never have my breast back. A reconstruction will do nothing for me, and it might make things worse, actually, because I've had some complications pop up this year with the grafts. I have to cover them up with bandages, or else they'll. I don't know what's going on with them. I tried to consult my surgeon about it, and he didn't really investigate. He gave me advice that made the complications worse, even, and actually temporarily gave me an infection. But I have to bandage up every day so that it doesn't leak all over my clothing or bedding.
God.
And
Jesus.
From the hormones and blockers, I've been experiencing some joint pains, mainly in my arms, my legs, and my back. And
Yep.
I still have issues with my urinary tract. I have to use the restroom pretty frequently, and I didn't even know that this was possible. This is like a pretty huge quality of life issue that I'm experiencing, and I'm just not really getting any help for it. And on top of that, I do hate to speak about it, but I'm experiencing sexual dysfunction at the age of 18. That's something that women usually go through when they're in their 40s to 50s.
Right.
How was I supposed to know?
She's 18 now. She's female. She's suspiciously photogenic, which is funny. But she's called herself a former trans kid. She was on T, which is testosterone, and blockers, which are the hormone blockers they're putting kids on, at the age of 13. That's absolutely insane. She had a double mastectomy at 15 and then detransitioned at 16. This is such a beautiful example of why this is objectively not a good idea. I personally am not against trans people. I don't care what you do as an adult. It's your life. Live it how you want. If you're a dude and you want to wear a dress, more power to you, bud. It's not my thing. I don't necessarily support it, but I also don't have a problem with it. You can do whatever you want as an adult. But what's happening is we have children who are being indoctrinated and brainwashed by algorithms on the internet and by a community of people who are better described as a cult into literally losing their self-identity. That is not my opinion. That is a fact. That is what's happening to the youth. And then what we're doing is we're allowing them at the age of 13 or younger to go on puberty blockers, which are not subtle drugs. They're intense drugs. And to go on testosterone, which again is an intense drug. She's a good example when people tell you, oh, we're not putting kids on the drugs. We're not giving surgeries to kids. Okay, well, liar. She was 13, got put on 2 different drugs. At least, oh, we don't give them surgeries as kids. Well, she was 15. And then at the age of 16, she decided this was a horrible mistake. Next thing I want to show you real quick is something that Chloe posted. And this is just a great representation of why the homosexual movement, the pride movement, in its origin years back, I don't believe had nefarious intentions. I don't believe they were trying to do anything under the table. But as that has progressed into an activist, progressivist, and radicalized movement, they have been infiltrated by people who do have nefarious intentions, people who do want to do harm to the next generation. And now we're seeing that in full swing with pedophiles now becoming a part of the LGBTQ community. And now we have drag shows for children. We're seeing it all come to fruition. It has absolutely become a cult. And this is what she posted. She took a screenshot here. It says, "It's called a dead name because adopting a trans identity is a ritual of death and rebirth in queer Gnosticism. Technically, it's a crude, external, simulated step towards hermetic ascension to the level of self-begottenness so that one's gender soul might actualize." That is absolutely religious. And it is all about self. And what are they doing? They are infiltrating Christianity, as we've talked about in previous videos, by the Methodist Church specifically and predominantly, welcoming this in with open arms, bringing in drag queens to perform in front of children, bringing in LGBTQ members who are drag queens to come be pastors of churches. She also posted this: "Adults in distress from gender dysphoria deserve to be told the truth by medical professionals. To be told the truth. Informed consent in its current state is impossible because the doctor is blatantly lying to patients. Every detransitioner I can think of feels that they were lied to at multiple stages." Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is a short video, and it basically is explaining to medical professionals how to talk to kids about trans ideology and coaching the kid so that they can keep it secret from their parents by letting them know the loopholes of how to speak and not have it go in your medical record because your parents have access to your medical record. All right, listen to this.
Ask you a question. I'm asking all of my teenage patients this. Had your mother step out of the room because what we discuss here is confidential and private, but as your parent, she is able to look at your medical record for whatever we put on there, okay? So what we discuss here, we can just talk about it, and there are certain parts that if you want me to just make note for myself, then I will make that note, but otherwise it will be in your record, and if it's asked for, they will have access to that. So I want to ask you about your gender identity. Are you comfortable having that conversation right now?
Sure.
All right. Would you say that you identify as a boy, girl, transgender, or non-binary, or maybe some other gender?
Actually, I don't really identify as a boy or a girl. I know some people look at me and think I'm a boy, but it doesn't really bother me.
Awesome. I'm glad it doesn't bother you. That's really good. So for our system, I'm going to go ahead and put other, if that's okay with you, because I feel like from what you're telling me, being specific about girl, boy, transgender, or non-binary doesn't fit. Is other okay?
Yep.
All right. And we can have further conversation about your gender identity if you'd like, now or maybe at another time, but we can talk more about it to help you kind of navigate what that looks like for you.
Okay, that sounds great. It might be different the next time I come in to talk to you.
Awesome. Sounds good.
In this scene, the clinician did several things well. First, he politely asked the adolescent patient's parent to leave the room so he can have a private conversation with the patient. Second, he made sure the patient knew that although their conversation is confidential, any information in the medical record could be read by a parent. He also asked the patient for permission to put the information in the medical record. Finally, the clinician was supporting and affirming with the patient.
I'm going to show you one more thing here real quick. It says this: "A follower sent me this from the certification exam for the Medical Board of Family Medicine. It asks how the professional should respond to a child with gender dysphoria. If you choose delaying medical transitioning, meaning trying to delay puberty blockers, surgeries, things like that, because it's a child, and kind of giving them more time to grow into their skin, to be comfortable with who they are, to become an adult, to make adult decisions, that is incorrect. The correct answer is to put them on puberty blockers, which our friend Chloe now has experienced the repercussions of. One of those things being joint pain. Please keep in mind too, she's 18 years old. So what is she going to feel like? What is her body going to be like at 30? We all need to recognize, understand, and accept that the next generation is under attack. And if we hope to stand a chance in this culture war, we need to speak up and speak out. And we need to be willing to work with and lock arms with people that maybe normally we wouldn't. I made a post on Instagram recently asking Christians if they would be willing to work with a group such as Gays Against Groomers. This is an activist group of homosexuals who are vehemently opposed to the LGBTQ community indoctrinating children. And I was pleasantly surprised that most Christians were like, yeah, man, I'm totally willing to link arms with these people in order to save the children. Because in my opinion, if your disdain and distaste towards homosexuals' lifestyles and what scripture says about homosexuality is greater than, stronger than, and more important to you than what is happening to children in the world right now, then I don't know what to say to you. If and when it's possible, always try to fight the culture war with love, but love does not mean accepting things that are immoral or damaging to children. Keep your eyes open. Stay sane. I love you guys.